In the last class, we have started the discussion of pure competition and the perfect competition. What is the difference between the pure and the perfect competition? Because whatever the market structure we are considering, if the market structure has to be a perfect competition, it needs to satisfy most of the features which we have discussed in the previous class. So those features are like that, it should contain more number of buyers and sellers, it should sell only homogeneous product, and it should have only free entry and exit, and they should have thorough knowledge about the technology which they are using for their product. So like that we have discussed so many features. Okay, so if it is a pure competition, means it should satisfy only first three of the features. So and we have discussed the examples of that pure and the perfect competition. So we have seen the examples of perfect competition. So generally in agricultural markets and agriculture products only, we are observing that perfect competition. So what are the features? Once again, I will revise these features. It should contain large buyers and sellers, and they should have the homogeneous product only. That means all the sellers which they are selling, all the products are homogeneous products only. So we have to consider that a vegetable market. So free entry and exit. Any person can enter into that perfect competition, and he can exit from that market. So no transportation cost, as because all the products are available from that nearby markets only. So there may be zero transportation cost or very less transportation cost. So there are no any restrictions. We don't get legal permissions from the government or whatever it may be. So any, not at all any artificial restrictions. So all the persons which the buyers and sellers are there in that perfect competition, they are having that perfect knowledge of prices and technology. These are all the features which we have discussed in that previous class. And I have started the discussion of equilibrium of a price. So under perfect competition, when we can say equilibrium, when a firm can come into an equilibrium, so when it will come into existence of a equilibrium. So this can be explained by using that marginal cost and that marginal revenue. Whenever that marginal cost value is equal to that marginal revenue, then we can say that the firm is in a equilibrium position. So the equilibrium position means it is a position the firm has no incentive either to expand or contrast its output. That means at this position only the firm is going to earn maximum profits. So that is the correct position. At that position only it is going to get that maximum profits. So if it all moves from that position to below or above position, means it is coming under losses. So already I have discussed the terms marginal cost and marginal revenue. The definitions I have explained in the previous class. Next we have discussed this graph, and I have started the concept of pricing under perfect competition. So how we have to consider that pricing determination. So whatever the goods or commodities they are selling in that perfect competition, how we can set the price of those commodities. So here, as we know that in perfect competition, as there are many number of buyers and sellers, so no single buyer is not going to affect that price. They are not going to influence the price of that commodity. So that's why what the Marshall has taken the concept, he has given great importance to the time element. He has considered the time element is the most important element. So he has divided the time element into more number of classifications. 4 classifications he has done. So we have discussed these classification also. So remember these terms. These terms are very important. The first one is the very short period or market period. If it is very short period, means we'll consider most of the times the terminology as market period. If I am discussing it as market period, means it comes under the category of very short period. Other name for that very short period is the market period. Next, short period, long period, very long period, or secular period. So these are the 4 periods. The Marshall has divided the time element into these 4 periods. We have discussed in the previous class. Now, so here the price determination in the market period. What is that market period? Means very short period. So whenever this the period is very short period, how we can how the market price is determined? The market price is determined by the equilibrium between the demand and supply in the market period. So we have to get that equilibrium between that demand and supply of that good. So here the nature of the commodity determines the nature of the supply curve. So whatever the commodity we are selling in that perfect competition or a perfect market, in that perfect market we are considering only time based very short period. So how we are going to decide that price determination of that very short period of a particular good? Here the goods are divided into two parts. One is the perishable goods and another one is the non-perishable goods. We have discussed the perishable goods. So perishable goods are nothing but the goods are going to be spoiled in a less time, less period. Suppose if you consider the goods like milk, fish, vegetables, if you are not preservating them in refrigerators, they are not going to be exist 1 or 2 days. So if you take milk, if you are not preserving properly, means within 1 day itself it will spoil. So if you take vegetables, 3 to 4 days they will spoil. So the goods which spoil in a less period time, this type of goods are called perishable goods. So I have discussed the graph for that perishable goods. Next, now from the today's class, we are going to start the discussion of non-perishable goods. So non-perishable goods are the goods, they are durable, like durable goods. That means that their lifetime exists for a certain number of years or days. So that type of goods are called non-perishable goods. So what is the time period we are considering? We are considering the time period is very short period. So what is that very short period is called? Very short period is also called market period. So we are going to discuss about the supply of non-perishable goods. What are the examples of these non-perishable goods? Like cloth, pen, watches, your laptops, ACs, all these are non-perishable goods. So if you take a very short period of time, the supply of these type of goods cannot be increased, because we are not able to increase the supply within 1 day or 2 day or 3 days. It is not possible to increase the supply of such type of non-perishable goods, because very short period means it is a 2 to 3 days period only. So within this short period, we are not able to increase the supply of these type of goods. So how the price determination will be done? How the price determination will be performed for this type of goods? Now we are going to discuss here. Suppose in this very short period, whenever the price is going to be false, that means the price values are false. So what the suppliers will do, their motive is to earn the profits. So whenever the prices are going to be down, means what they will do, they will preserve some stock and can decrease their supply. So automatically what they are taking that immediate step, whenever the prices are going to be very reduced in the market, means they are preserving their stock. So by preserving their stock and they are decreasing the supply, in that way they are going to decrease the supply of that commodities. So whenever based on that market, whenever the prices are false too much, previously the price of that particular commodity is 50 rupees. The price is reduced for 40 rupees. Immediately for the next period, it is going to be reduced to 20 rupees. That means half of the value has been reduced. So they will sell the products. If they sell the products with that price, means automatically they will get not getting good profits. They will get not profits. So that's why what they are doing, if the price falls too much, means the whole stock will be held back from the market. That means they are held back. That means they are not supplying the goods. They will held back the stock from that market, and those goods are carried over to the next market. Okay, they are preserving those goods. That means the whole stock will be held back from the market. They are carried over to the next market period. This is the case occurring in for the non-perishable goods. In which type of a time period? In a very short time period. So whenever the price falls, means they are preserving the stock. Preserving the stock means they are decreasing their supply. Suppose if the prices are further false, that means that the prices are going to be false very much, too much. So they are holding the stock. The whole stock will be held from that back from that market. That is the thing they are doing. So whenever the prices are going to be fall, means they are not ready to sell those goods. That means the price below which the seller will refuse to sell, they are not ready to sell those goods. They are refused. So in which the seller will refuse to sell is called reserve price. This is the term you have to remember the word. What is the definition here, reserve price. When we call a particular price is a reserve price means whenever the prices are going to be fall very much, the sellers are going to refuse the products, refuse to sell the products. So that price is called reserve price. So that price determination for non-perishable goods in very short period maybe, it can be explained with that following diagram. So observe this diagram. Here in this diagram, see the terminology here. Here, SM curve you are seeing. This is the supply curve. DD means demand curve. Here I have taken three different DDs. One is DD curve, actual demand curve. Whenever the demand increases, we have shifted the demand curve, the basic demand curve shifted to D1, D1. That is the increased demand curve. That's why this is above this basic demand curve. Whenever the demand decreases means it falls below that original demand curve. That demand curve I have denoted with D2, D2. See here, whatever the lines you require the terminology, that's why I'm explaining things. On the x-axis, I'm taking the quantity of that commodity. On the x-axis, we are considering. On the y-axis, we are considering the price values of that commodity. Okay, so SM is the supply curve. So which supply curve? Market period supply curve. So we are discussing about that very short period non-perishable goods. For that very short period non-perishable goods, SM, and we are taking that another supply curve, SES. This is the another supply curve. So we are discussing about that SES. Here SES is the supply curve. It slopes upward from the point E. That means the curve has been started upward. That means it is going upward up to the point E only. Okay, from E onwards it is vertically straight. So it is parallel to your y-axis. It is vertically upwards. So up to that point, it has been increased from that particular point E onwards. It has been parallel to your y-axis. This is the thing. Why this has been happened? I am going to explain here. Here, whenever this what is the supply curve we are discussing? SES. One second. See here, SES. I am explaining here. Up to which point it has been increased upward, up to the point from S to E, it is increased. So what is the quantity demanded up to this point? On the x-axis, we have taken the quantity demanded. So what is that quantity demanded? It is 0M. Okay. From 0 to M, the quantity demanded. That is the thing I am telling. This is because the quantity existing with the sellers is OM. So in the very short period, what I have explained, we are not going to increase the supply of that good. The supply of the good is constant only, because within the 2 to 3 days, we cannot increase the supply of any commodity. So the supply of the good is constant. That is, it is OM only. The maximum amount they have to is the value OM only. So the maximum commodity value, commodity or goods they are available with us is OM only. So till OM quantity, that is, what is the point here? E. Up to E only, the supply curve is sloped upward. At the point S, nothing is offered for sale. That means if you consider 0 to S, at this point, they are not ready to sell anything. Why they are not ready to sell anything? Because the prices are fall down. So as the prices are going to be fall down means they are held back the stock of that goods. So they are not ready to sell the goods. That's why at the point S means, because as the prices are falling down, they are not ready to sell anything. So that means nothing is offered for sale. See here, it means the seller withhold the entire stock if the price is OS. So whenever the price becomes OS means the seller is not ready to sell the good. That is the thing I have explained in the previously. So that OS is called the reserve price. In the previous only I have explained what is the reserve price. So this is the price value which the seller will refuse to sell. At that price value is called the reserve price. So in this diagram, so at OS, that means whenever the price value becomes S, that means the value is OS here. The seller is not ready to sell his goods. So that OS price value is called that reserve price. Okay. Whenever the price rises, that means from OS to it has been increased to OP. whenever the basic demand curve cuts its point, this point is called E. So when you project this line onto that y-axis, the price value is P. So OP, that price value is OP. So whenever the price increases, the supply increases up to the point E. That is the thing I have explained. So this is the point raised, and the quantity, maximum quantity they are offering is OM only. So whenever you project this line onto that y-axis, the price value is OP. Okay. So at OP price, that is at point E, the entire stock is offered for sale, because whenever the prices becomes OP means they are going to offer the total stock. Suppose the demand is going to be increased. Okay. Whenever, this is the basic demand curve. This basic demand curve is intersecting that SM curve at this point. See here, whenever the demand is going to be increased means this DD curve is going to be shifted to D1, D1. So this is going to intersect this curve at the point E1. So when you project this point onto the Y line, so it is going to give the new price level. What is that new price level? OP1. So at this price level OP1 also, what is the quantity they are demanding? The quantity that they are demanding, offering is OM only, because in very short period, they are not going to increase their supply. The quantity is OM only. It is not going to be increased. Whenever the prices also are also going to be increased, the total quantity they are offering is OM only. That is the point you have to understand here. So as the price increases, the supply increases up to the point E. At OP price, the entire stock is offered for the sale. So they are offering that entire stock for the sale. Suppose this I have explained now, the DD curve is shifted upward. So it becomes the D1, D1, and the price rises to OP1, as I have now explained. So the price rises to OP1. So whenever the DD shifted to D1, D1, the price rises to OP1. Demand, then the price is OP1. Whenever demand decreases, what happens? See here. Previously, the demand increases to D1, D1. The price means OP1. Whenever the demand decreases, the decreased curve is D2, D2. So when you project this line onto that y-axis, what is the price? OP3. So the value is OP3. So the price will fall to OP3. We find that the at OS price supply is 0. Again, I will go to the previous one. Already I have explained. At OS means the supply is 0. Nothing quantity, no quantity is offered at this price. So that is the thing. So that's why that OS price is called that reserve price. So this is the total explanation of that goods. Which type of goods? Non-perishable goods in very short period. Now, so the time period is divided into 4 types. So he has given that price determination, because in the 4th category, that is the secular period, already he has explained that we are not able to determine the prices in the secular period. Secular period means, already I have explained that it will take decades of time. Decades means minimum 10 years, maximum about 10 years. That means we are not able to determine the prices if it is greater than 10 years. So we are not going to discuss about that secular period. So totally how many time periods we are going to discuss about? Totally 3 time periods. What are those time periods? Very short period, and long period. Already I have explained that very short period. Now I am going to explain that price determination in the short period. Each is a separate question. If they ask the question, explain that price determination in the short period, means you have to write the content like this. Suppose if they ask the price determination in the very short period, means you have to give the explanation for both perishable goods and that non-perishable goods in with separate graphs. So how that price determination in the short period? As we have explained that in the short period means it may take some months. Suppose if we are having 1 month or 2 months of time, or less than 1 year, short period means less than 1 year. So here we are having, we are not going to increase that fixed cost. We are going to increase the variable cost. That means we are increasing certain parameters. So by changing those parameters, that means we are increasing the raw materials, we are increasing the labor. So those factors we are altering. By altering those factors, we can increase the production, we can increase the supply. So that is the thing we have discussed in the short period. So how can we decide the price determination in this short period? Now we will see that through this graph. See here, short period is a period in which supply can be increased by altering the variable factors. So what I have told now. So we are going to alter the variable factors. Which variable factors? Suppose we can take, we can get that raw materials. So that means we can uh, find that various sources where we will get that raw materials, and we can increase the raw material for our production, and we can recruit another persons to do that work, and that means we are using another labor, extra labor, so for doing that work. So by altering those variable factors, we can increase the supply. That is the thing. So in this period, fixed costs will remain constant. In the second chapter itself, we have gone through what is meant by fixed cost and the variable cost. Fixed cost means we are not going to construct new buildings or new firms. So that is the fixed cost. New machinery, or we are not going to alter such type of things. We are altering the raw materials and labor. That is the variable factors. So here the supply is increased when the price rises, and vice versa. So here, whatever the supply curve we are considering, it is upwards from left to right. This is the supply curve in the short period. Here the term I have used SPS. S means short, P means period. So short period supply curve. S means supply. Once again I am telling, observe this curve, SPS. Here we are having another curve also, MPS. MPS and market period supply. So why I have taken MPS curve also in this diagram means he is comparing that very short period supply curve and that short period supply curve. That's why he has taken both the curves within the same diagram. Every time he is going to compare the things with that very short period and short period. Suppose I am going to move to that long period. So in that, whenever he is explaining that long period, means that long period is compared with that short period, how it will be in that very short period. So here, remember the terminology, MPS means market period. So market period is nothing but very short period. SPS means short period, as we are discussing that short period. So how the supply curve will be here? It is sloping from left to right. The curve is sliding from left to right. Now observe things. So the terminology is the same. As we all know that the demand curve falls from left to right, as because we know that basic principles that whenever the price increases, the demand is going to be decreased. Whenever the price decreases means the demand is going to be increased, as we have discussed in the first unit, those concepts. That's why the demand curve is going to be fall in this way. So here, originally, whenever the demand is like this, this is denoted by DD curve. So whenever the demand increases means it is shifted upwards from this curve, that is denoted by D1, D1. Okay. Whenever the demand decreases means this is denoted by curve D2, D2. That's why we have taken three demand curves: original demand curve and actual demand curve. Demand increases means how the curve will be. Whenever the demand decreases means how the curve will be. So what are the other two lines? Short period supply curve and market period supply curve. So whenever these points, these demand curve is intersecting, suppose I am taking a short period supply. This is the DD line. So it is intersecting this point. This point is called E. So when you are projecting this point onto that y-axis, the price is P. So what is the original price here? OP. So what is the quantity, original quantity offered? It is OM. Observe these lines. Original quantity offered is OM. What is the original price? OP. Whenever the demand increases, where it is going to be intersect this point at E4. So where that demand line is intersecting this short period supply curve, it is intersecting at a point E4. When you project this point onto the y-axis, the price value will be P4. So whenever the price is going to be increased, that means now the price is 0 P4. So whenever the price is 0 P4 means what is that quantity we are offering? 0 M1. This is, or you can say it is O means OM1. So OM1 means previously, originally it is OM. Now it is OM1 means the supply has been increased. If you observe the graph, you can definitely identify. Previously it is 0M. Now it is 0M1. The supply has been increased. How the supply has been increased? By changing the variable factors like raw materials and labor. We are going to increase the supply of the commodities because the demand has been increased. Suppose whenever the demand is decreased, so the decreased curve is denoted by D2, D2. Now, where it is intersecting with the supply curve, short period supply curve at the position E3. E3 means when you project this point onto that y-axis, the value is P3. So what is the price values? 0, P3. That means the price values has been reduced. So what is the quantity offered at that price? 0, M2. Because as the prices are going to be down, there is a fall in the price. That means they are not ready to offer the whole stock. There is reduced the supply of the stock. That's why the quantity offered or the commodities offered for the sale are going to be reduced. So hope you understood the basic point here. So what are the things we required here? SPS, MPS, because whatever may be the demand, suppose if you take that MPS line only consider MPS line. So if the demand is increased, the quantity offered is the same. That is the thing you have to observe. Whether the demand increased also, the quantity offered is OM only. But in the SPS curve, if the demand increased means the quantity offered is going to be changed, because this is the sufficient period. That means we are having the available time to increase the supply of our goods. This is the price determination in the short period. So whatever the things I have explained and I have written in this PPT. So if you require, once again I will go through this, because for your understanding, for your reference purpose, I have written the content here. So as I have explained all the things, see here, as firms can vary some factors but not all, the law of variable proportion operates, because in a short period we are going to change the only variable factors, not the fixed factors. Okay, so this results in new short run supply curve. Already I have told you SPS means short run supply curve, short period supply curve or short run supply curve. It intersects the D1 at curve E4. Already I have explained you. So it intersects D1 at the point E4. When you project this point onto the y-axis, the price is P4. What is the total price? 0 to P4. So what is the quantity offered at this price? 0 M1. That is the thing I have mentioned here. Okay. Whenever the prices falls from OP1 to OP4, okay, the demand is going to be decreased. Again, the demand curve shifts downward. So we have seen that the demand curve, whenever prices decrease means that the demand has been decreased. Here, the curve is shifted downwards. So whenever the curve is shifted downwards means the price is going to be reduced here. This is a 0 P3. So that is the value I have told you. So we have explained the quantity offered is going to be increased. That is going to be happen in the short period time. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about that another topic here, price determination in that long period. Okay, how we are going to determine the price values of that commodities in the long period. So previously we have discussed in that very short period and short period. So here you have to remember one more term here. If it is a long period means the price values are called normal price. If it is a long period means the price values are called the normal price. If it is very short period means the price values are all called, already I have told you, market price. Market period supply curve, market price. If it is a short period, what we are calling that is reserving prices. We have explained that term. So here, generally, why that the commodities prices are going to be fluctuate in the market? There may be some different type of reasons. The different types of disturbances also are also going to be occurred in the market. For example, suppose unexpected rains are started. Okay, due to that rains, somebody requires some raincoats or umbrellas or some another thing. So the service offered by the doctors are also going to be changed. So because of that various diseases, flus, whatever it may be. So whenever there is a sudden change in the market, it may be a good affected or it may be a services are also going to be affected. So market price may fluctuate due to a sudden change either on the supply side or on the demand side. Suppose for any particular good there is a lot of demand, but the company is not able to supply the good to meet that changed demand in that market. So because of variable factors, because of some problems, they are not meet that demand. So the supply is not same with that demand. So what we have to do in that case? For example, a sudden cold wave may raise the price of woolen garments. Suppose a sudden change in that cool weather. So many persons are wants to buy woolen garments, or a sudden rainfall, or sudden due to the weather changes or whatever maybe the another changes, any particular good requirement is going to be increased or any particular good requirement is going to be decreased. So some disturbances are going to be occurred in this way. This type of temporary change in the supply and demand may cause changes in the market price. Suppose whenever they are going for a particular commodities, demand is going to be increased means automatically they want to earn profits. Automatically the prices, they want to change the prices of those commodities. So in that way, due to these fluctuations, market prices are going to be affected. So in the absence of such disturbances, suppose if there are not at all any disturbances, everything is going in a cool manner. So the prices are in a normal way only. The prices tends to come back to the certain level. So they are in normal level only. Okay. So Marshall called this normal level is called that normal price levels. Whenever there are no disturbances, suppose there are disturbances means the prices are going to be fluctuated. Either there is a rise in the price or there may be a down in the price, fall in the price or rise in the price. Suppose if there are not at all any disturbances means the prices are tend to come back to the certain normal level. So Marshall is called this level as the normal price level. Okay. So what he is going to be tell? So in the words of Marshall, normal value of a commodity is which the economics force would tend to bring out about in the long period. That means the price value would be tend to be exist in that long period of time. So that is called that normal price value. So here, how to determine this prices in this long period? Okay. So how to cope up with that demand changes or any supply changes in this normal period, normal price or long period. Here we can explain this. Here, already I have told that in the short period, the supply can be changed by changing the variable factors only. But here, in the long period, if you take, the supply conditions are full sufficient, because longer period means greater than 1 year. Suppose if a company has a greater than 1 year time means if it wants to increase its production means it can establish a new firm, or it can buy new machinery. So this type of modification the firm can do, or the certain other type of modifications also the firm can do. That means the firm is able to do the modification in the case of variable factors and the fixed factors. That means purchasing new lands or purchasing new machinery or buying any another firm. These type of modifications, if they do modifications in this means they are doing the alterations in that fixed factors also. That means the supply conditions are fully sufficient to meet the changes in the demand. So we are able to change that supply of that commodities, because the time available with us is very sufficient time. So we are able to meet the meet the demand changes. So if the demand is very high means we are cope up with that demand. We can supply the goods with that demand. That is the thing. So all factors are alterable. Which factors are alterable? Both fixed factors and the variable factors. That means the new firms may enter into this, or old firms may leave the industry, because as the time is more sufficient time, so there is a chance. Suppose if the demand is more means a new firm can enter into this. Suppose if the demand is nil means the firm can leave that industry. So some old firms leave the industry. That is the thing he is explaining. Now, generally in the long period, all the costs are called that variable cost only. So whatever the costs we are considering, those costs are called the variable cost. So supply will be increased only whenever the price is equal to that average cost. So what it is he is telling, so you can increase the supply whenever the price is equal to that average cost. So what is meant by average cost? Average cost is nothing but total cost divided by the quantity. So that means, suppose for making 100 number of commodities, what is the total cost you have incurred? That total cost divided by how many number of quantities you have manufactured 100. So that total cost divided by 100. If you divided by that value, you will get that average cost. So this supply will be increased only whenever the price is equal to that average cost only. So this is the basic thing you have to remember here. Hence, in this long period, normal price will be equal to that minimum average cost of that industry. So we are saying in that long period, the price value is that normal price value. So this should be equal to your minimum average cost of that industry. So for getting for making this as the average cost of this industries, we need to consider three things here. That means there are three stages of returns. What are these? The three types of considerations we have to discuss. One is the increase in the returns. That means whether the firm is going to increase its returns. So how can we increase the returns? Suppose whenever a particular consumer is interested to buy a particular good, if that good is available at reasonable price, so if that good quality is also good, so each and every consumer is interested to buy that particular commodity. Automatically the demand for that commodity is going to be increased because the price is reasonable, the quality is good. So whatever that they are offering, all the things are favorable to that consumer. So automatically the company is going to increase the returns. That means because they are decreasing their cost. So by increasing the returns or decreasing the cost. The second one is constant returns and constant cost. Diminishing returns or increasing cost. We will discuss each and one now. Okay. So determination of the long period normal price in decreasing cost in that industry. That means we are reducing the prices of that commodities. So what we are doing here, when you are considering the case as decreasing cost consideration, here average cost falls due to an increase in the output, because what is the firm is going to take the considerations. Suppose if I manufacture 100 products in my company, for manufacturing each and every product, I am incurring 50 rupees cost. Suppose if I increase the production by establishing a new firm, okay, so the average cost incurred for that product is going to be reduced by 10 rupees or 20 rupees. So that means if I increase the production of that particular products, automatically the average cost is going to be reduced. So that is the thing he is explaining. So average cost falls due to the increase in that output. So at this case, the supply curve at this stage will slope downwards from left to right. So here again we are explaining the thing by diagram. See here. So the basic curves, once again we are taking DD is the actual demand curve. Again, whenever the demand is increased means, as it is the long period means they are having the sufficient time to increase the supply of the goods. So D1 is the increased demand. Okay. So what is the supply curve we have to take? SPS is the short period supply curve. So we have specified that short period supply curve. MPS means market period supply curve. This corresponds to very short period. This SPS corresponds to which period? Short period. So what we are discussing? We are discussing about that LPS. LPS is long period supply curve. So in the long period supply curve, the curve is from left to right. It is falling left to right. So this is the curve now we are going to discuss. Okay. This is the LPS curve. This is the LPS curve. So what is the original demand? This DD is the demand curve. So the original demand curve is intersecting this LPS curve at which point? This is the LPS curve. It is intersecting at a point called E. See here. If demand increases from DD to DD1, market price increases to OP1. Market price means consider this MPS curve. So if the demand is DD, it is increased from D1. So what is the price increased where it is cutting at E1? So what is the market price? It is he is telling about that market price, that is 0 P1. Okay, it increases to 0 P1. Suppose if it is the short period, so this is the SPS curve. What is the demand? D1 D1. So where it is intersecting at E2, it is intersecting at E2. So E2 means what is the price level? 0 P2. So what is the thing we have to observe? Whenever the demand is going to be increased, the price level in that market period is more when compared with that short period supply. Understand this? So whenever it is MPS, the price value is 0 P3. Sorry, this is P1, 0 P1. So yeah, when it is SPS, what is the price value? 0 P2. So the price value in that market period supply curve is more than that short period supply curve. Now we will see that actual thing. So like that the price falling also we can see. See here, if you take that LPS, whenever the demand increases, so demand increases means D1, D1, where this D1, D1 is intersecting your LPS, it is intersecting at E3. When you project this E3 onto that y-axis, where it is projecting, the projected point is called P3. So what is the price? This is 0 P3. So if you consider that LPS means the price has fallen to 0 P3, which is less than the price of that market period. So if you consider that long period supply, the price value is very much smaller than shorter period supply and market period supply. That is the concept we are going to explain here. Okay, increasing returns means what we are doing, we are decreasing the cost. So whatever the demand we are going to be increased, this D1 demand curve is intersecting your LPS curve at this point E3. If you project this point onto this y-axis, this is a P3. Okay, the price level is 0 P3 only. Previously it is a 0 P2, previously it is 0 P1. So the price values is in the long period is very much smaller than your market period and that shorter period. This is the first case explanation. See, if you do not put interest in this subject, I can't do anything. Based on your interest only, you will understand the concept. Okay, it is not a technical subject. You have to put attention. So how you are going to determine the normal price in the constant cost industry? So we are not going to change the prices. The prices are going to be remain constant. Whenever the prices are constant means how that line will be, it will be horizontal axis. That means in this case, whatever the average cost we are considering, it does not change even the output increases. That means whatever that output you are increasing by establishing a new firms, or we are changing some variable factors. So all we are doing, but the average cost does not going to be changed. So in this sense, the long period supply curve is, because we are not going to alter anything means it will be horizontal to your x-axis. So previously we have discussed that LPS. That LPS is, do you remember? This is falling from left to right because we are reducing the prices. We are offering the more quantity, but we are reducing the prices. That's why the curve is falling like this. Now here we are not going to change anything. So the curve is like parallel to x-axis. This is the LPS curve. So what I am going to explain here, the original DD demand curve here. So increased demand, D1, D1. So I am going to explain for LPS only here, because the original demand curve intersects at the point E. So when you project onto that y-axis, the value is 0p. The price value is 0p. So whenever the demand increases means the curve is shifting to upwards, So where that LPS curve, that D1 intersecting that LPS curve at the point E3. So when you project this point onto that y-axis, the cost is the same only. That is the thing we are going to explain, because we are not altering the costs of the things. So it is parallel to your x-axis. So whether the demand is going to be increased, the price remains to be constant. This is the what is that second one? Constant cost industry. Next, I'm moving to that another one. So determination of that longer period price level in increased cost industry. Here, again we are take another diagram. See here, for the explanation of that one, I'm going to take another diagram. Here, again your DD is your demand curve. D1 is increased demand curve. Again, they have given both the all the concepts in the within the diagram. Suppose if you take MPS, what happens? Suppose if you take SPS, what happens? We are mainly concentrated on the LPS because we are discussing that price determination in that long period supply curve. Suppose originally when we are having that demand, that means demand DD. So what is the price? This is 0P. What is the quantity offered? It is ME. The quantity offered is OM. So this is the point intersecting onto the x-axis. The quantity offered is OM. So whenever the demand is increased, that means the curve is shifted from DD to D1. So this is your LPS curve. So your demand has been increased. That means what we are doing, what is the heading here? Increase cost industry. Increase cost industry means we are diminishing the returns. That means here we are increasing the cost of that commodities. So that means the price values are going to be increased because when you are increasing the demand means the line, the demand line is going to intersect at a point called E3. When you project this point onto the y-axis, the price value is P3. So previously it is 0P at the original demand. So whenever the demand is increased, the price level is also going to be increased. So what is the quantity offered? Quantity offered is going to be changed because it is the long period. So by varying the different factors, we are increasing that quantity demanded. So quantity offered is 0M3. See here, if you take the short period and the market period, what are the changes occurred we have discussed previously. So here, if it is the long period means it is increases to OM3. What increase to OM3? The quantity demanded increases to OM3. Sorry. And the price increases to OP3. So I have told you the price has been increased to 1 minute. The price has been increased to OP3. This is the LPS curve. Change in demand line is going to cut this LPS curve. So when you project this, the price is P3. So quantity demanded is 0M3 and the price level is changed to 0P3. So in the long period, supply is also increased to 0M3 and price is increased to 0P3. But the increase in price is less than the price increase in a market period. So whatever the increase in the price you are considering. So what is the price increase here? What is the price increase here? P3. This increase in price is less than that SPS. So in the short period, what is the price increase? It is 0P2. So 0P3 is less than 0P2. So whatever that price increase in market period means very short period. What is that price increase? It is 0P1. So when compared with this market period and short period, the price increase in this long period is less. That is the thing we are going to conclude here.